Recruiting your first employee is actually a very, very hard problem. And I assure you that if you're not having trouble doing it, then maybe what you're trying to do perhaps is create the next Facebook. Anyway, with jokes apart, I think the most important thing to keep in mind about recruiting new employees or your first few employees to your company is that it's actually a marketing exercise. In many ways, it's a marketing exercise that you have to follow through. How do you make people who have never heard about you, never heard about your company, or for that matter, never even heard about the particular problem or product or industry that you're trying to operate in, I mean, they have no idea about any of these things. What is it that should make them want to come, leave, all what they have and join the company, which probably runs out of a simple, apartment, maybe one bedroom in an apartment somewhere. And so these are things that you have to manage to get over. And the reason I say that it's a marketing exercise is because you have to use media in a way to influence perception. So as an example, I think one of the things that we did right in the beginning when we were when we were creating Mobstack is we did a few things. One, we actually created a prototype of the product that we wanted to build. So we had actually done that ourselves. We had taken some effort to think through what a product would look like, what a minimum viable product would look like. And since we knew how to build products, we actually put a little bit of energy and time and resources into getting something basic out. When we got something basic out, we were actually able to go and show this to people. Now, you can show a prototype to investors, you can show a prototype to your friends, and you can of course show a prototype to a potential employee, because it's very easy for a lot of people to put together a PowerPoint and tell you a lot of stories about what it is that they're trying to do. But when someone sees something tangible, when they see something that is real and then they can interact with it, the way they react to your product or your proposition, that changes completely. And especially these days when companies and people are launching consumer-focused products that are typically software run inside your mobile phone or your tablet, it's actually a lot easier to create something tangible that someone can interact with and use that to go forward. But of course, that doesn't solve the problem that you may or may not have a reputation, you may not have started a company before, maybe you don't have a successful track record. So to address these things, you have to do a couple of things. One, you have to leverage your own background. Everything that you have about yourself that you think is something someone else should know, that's something that you have to use. For example, maybe you went to study, you did your BTech from IIT. You should talk about it. You say, by the way, I happen to graduate from IIT. Let's say you worked at a company and you built some cool technology there, and that has some relevance to the stuff that you're planning to do in terms of the startup that you're creating. You have to talk about that. And when I say talk about it, it's two ways, right? You can talk about it in a face-to-face meeting. The other thing that you can do is talk about it in media. So one thing a lot of companies do these days is, even when they're just getting started, they'll get a simple domain, they'll get a very simple website which has a clean look, buy some off-the-shelf design somewhere, put up a simple blog and just start talking about their company. And when I say talk about their company, they're really talking about what they plan to do, not so much what they have done. And those things really help. When you have a blog, you have something that you're writing about, you're putting down your thoughts, you can share that. You can share that on your Facebook account, you can share that on Twitter, you can use social networks like LinkedIn. And then the other thing you can do is you can go and talk to startup focused media. Like you can probably talk to a site like Next Big What or Your Story, and then most of the times you'll get covered, and that way you'll get a little more access to people who may be interested in the things that you're trying to do. But in general, right, attracting early employees involves using your background. If you have investments already committed, if you have an angel investor, or if you already have venture capital funding, you use all those things to market yourself. In addition to talking about your company or your startup, in a blog, or talking about it by, say, talking to a popular media site, all of these things put together help you reach potential employees. Now, once you reach them, it's quite a different matter how you convince them to actually join you. And at that point, it becomes very important to sell the vision of what the company is trying to accomplish, because invariably the first few people who join a startup are not doing it because they'll just get paid a little bit more money. They're usually doing it because they identify with what it is that you want to create, and they feel they have something to contribute. So they say, hey, maybe this is the best way I can do something, which is by joining this person. So sell the vision, sell where you want to get to as a company. If you want to go public, say I want to go public, or say, we want to be a company that is in a position to get acquired by, say, Facebook, because this is the kind of stuff we'll be working on. Talk about those things. I think those things matter. It's not about making empty promises. It's about showing what kind of ambition you have. And I think lastly, it's important for you to talk to potential employees about how they can benefit in terms of their career. I think that's very important. What is it that they gain by joining a startup, joining your particular startup? What is it that you can offer them that gives them a launchpad to do something else that they want to do in the future? So in some sense, connect what you can offer to what they want to do with their lives, or in their professional lives in particular. I think that's the way we've gone about recruiting employees at Mobstack.